Join us on the Global Focus Review channel as we delve into the pressing inquiries and uncertainties that have emerged due to the recent conflicts in Israel. People have been questioning the true origins of the Palestinians, and we have received numerous comments seeking information about their ancestral roots based on biblical accounts. In adherence to our channel's customary approach, we are introducing a new series called The Origins of Peoples According to the Bible. In this series, we will not only explore the biblical references, but also delve into history, genetics, and linguistics. In light of the ongoing conflicts in Israel, we are preparing a special video dedicated to unraveling the origin of the Palestinian people. Many are curious about their identity and whether they are indeed descendants of Ishmael. We invite you to join us for another episode of our series, where we will examine the origins of the Palestinians according to the Bible and other fields of study. Stay tuned for this informative episode on the origin of peoples according to the Bible, specifically focusing on the book of Genesis, verses 16:10-12. These verses state that the angel of the Lord proclaimed to Abraham that his descendants would multiply greatly, and his son Ishmael would be born to Hagar. Ishmael's nature was described as being like a wild donkey, with his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him. Additionally, it was prophesied that he would live in hostility toward all his brothers. These verses are often used to argue that the contemporary Palestinians are direct and pure descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's son and Isaac's brother. Such claims are frequently cited as contributing factors to the ongoing conflicts in the Gaza region of Israel. However, it is crucial to question the extent to which this assertion accurately represents the reality. The ethnic origins of Palestinians encompass a much broader range than what is commonly perceived. In fact, the Palestinian population exhibits a diverse blend of ancestral heritage, extending beyond their Arab roots and predominant Islamic faith. Many Palestinians also possess a significant genetic connection to Jewish ancestry, originating from ancient Jews who converted to Islam during the 6th and 7th centuries. The ethnic composition of Palestinians, as a national collective residing in the southern land, has been the subject of extensive studies that explore both linguistic and genetic aspects. Additionally, nationalist ideologies have given rise to numerous misconceptions regarding this population. It is essential to comprehend that despite being predominantly Arab and Muslim, the Palestinian population is not homogeneous. It encompasses substantial diversity in terms of religious practices, languages, cultures, and even ethnic groups. The demographic history of Palestine is intricate, shaped by historical events, migrations, and influences from various imperial powers throughout the centuries. Wars, uprisings, and religious developments have also played pivotal roles in the demographic evolution of the region, influencing immigration, emigration, and conversions. With the Muslim conquest of the Levant in the 7th century, the region underwent processes of Arabization and Islamization. This transformation resulted from local conversions, assimilation, and the Muslim presence in the area, leading to the establishment of an Arab-Muslim population. Although their numbers were considerably smaller than the region's population at the end of antiquity, from the Middle Ages until the early 20th century, this Arab-Muslim population became the predominant religious group in the region. Many Palestinian villages and notable families can trace their origins back to their clans known as Hamula, consisting of Arab nomadic tribes from the Arabian Peninsula who settled in the region before or after the Islamic conquest. while a small number of Palestinian families maintain oral traditions that harken back to their Jewish and Samaritan roots. Ongoing efforts to construct a Palestinian national identity and consolidate national consciousness have played a significant role in the internal history of Palestine. These efforts aim to establish a primary basis of identity centered around Palestinian nationality, in contrast to other prevalent identities among Palestinians, including clan, local tribal, and Islamic identities. When examining the complex demographic history of Palestine, it becomes apparent that it has been shaped by various historical events and migrations over the centuries. During the Bronze Age, the region was primarily inhabited by Canaanites, a people who spoke Phoenician. In the early Iron Age, the Israelites emerged as a distinct ethnic and religious group in the region. Unlike the Canaanites, who had Canaanite origins, the Israelites, or Hebrews, had Semitic roots. They established the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. The collapse of these kingdoms under the Assyrians and Babylonians resulted in forced exile to the east. Subsequently, the region came under the dominion of the Achaemenid and Seleucid empires during classical antiquity. Over time, Jews became the majority population in Palestine and even experienced a brief period of independence under the Hasmonean dynasty. However, the region underwent a transition when it came under Roman dominion. The Jewish-Roman conflicts, particularly the Bar Cba revolt, resulted in the widespread suffering of Jews through death, displacement, and enslavement. Consequently, the Jewish population in Judea experienced a significant decline in the subsequent centuries. The region also endured political and economic instability, coupled with the conversion of people to the emerging Christian faith and the persecution of religious minorities. Byzantine rule led to the establishment of a Christian majority due to Christian immigration and the departure of Jews. This era was characterized by various conflicts, including Samaritan uprisings and the conversion of the local populace. In the 7th century, the Levant was conquered by Arabic-speaking Muslims who embraced Islam. Over time, different Arabic-speaking Muslim dynasties, such as the Umayyads, Abbasids, and Fatimids, governed the region. The population of Palestine gradually declined from approximately 1 million during the Roman and Byzantine periods to around 300,000 at the start of the Ottoman era. The existing population underwent a process of Islamic conversion, adoption of Arab culture, and the Arabic language. Historical records suggest that Arab colonization, both preceding and following the Muslim conquest, played a significant role in the region's Islamization. Notably, a substantial portion of the population in the Nevis area of Palestine is descended from Samaritans who embraced Islam. The Samaritans were descendants of certain Israelite tribes and also had Assyrian origins, as the Assyrians are also a Semitic people. The timing of Islam's arrival in Palestine, whether before or after the Crusades, remains uncertain. Some scholars and experts propose that Palestine was already predominantly Muslim when the Crusaders arrived. However, there is an alternative viewpoint suggesting that the process of mass Islamization took place at a later stage, possibly during the Mamluk period. This period refers to a time in history when the Mamluk dynasty, a group of powerful military leaders, exerted dominance in various regions of the Islamic world, particularly in Egypt and Syria. Originally slave soldiers, the Mamluks rose to become influential rulers of the Islamic State from the 13th to the 19th centuries. While different Mamluk periods existed in different parts of the Islamic world, The most renowned and enduring was the Mamluk Empire in February 13, 2024, to century Egypt. The Mamluks established their own government in Egypt, known as the Mamluk Sultanate. One of the most prominent Mamluk leaders was Saladin, who famously reconquered Jerusalem from the Crusaders in 1187 and established a dynasty that would endure for centuries. The Mamluk rule in Egypt eventually came to an end in 1517 when the Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Selim, conquered Egypt. Although the Mamluks were absorbed into the Ottoman system, they retained some level of local autonomy. The demographic composition of Palestine has been shaped by multiple waves of migration. This includes the influx of Egyptians during the reigns of Muhammad Ali and Ibrahim Pasha, as well as the immigration of Algerians following the Abu Qaid uprising in the first half of the 18th and 19th centuries. Additionally, during the latter half of the 19th century, there were migrations of individuals from Honduras to Palestine, including Slavic Bosnians and Circassians. Throughout the 17th century, the population of Palestine experienced a decline and remained relatively stable between 150,000 and 250,000 people under Ottoman rule. When exploring the origins of the Palestinians, it is important to note that while Palestinian culture is predominantly Arab and Islamic today, many Palestinians also identify with the civilizations that historically inhabited the land of Palestine. During the Ottoman era, Palestinians considered themselves descendants not only of the 7th century Arab conquerors, but also of the indigenous people who had resided in the country since ancient times. According to a Palestinian anthropological study, a wide range of people settled in the Palestine region throughout history and regarded it as their homeland. This includes the Canaanites, followed by the Philistines, Israelites, Hebrews, Arabs descended from Esau, brother of Jacob, the Nons, descendants of Ishmael, and the Aramean, descendants of Aram, among other Semitic groups. The Romans and Arabs, descendants of Midian, also contributed to this mix of peoples, shaping the rich cultural and ethnic heritage of Palestine over the centuries. The reality is that this study is entirely accurate, because today's Palestinians, despite some claims by internet theorists, possess a diverse heritage that encompasses Jewish, Edomite, Aramean, Canaanite, and Philistine traits. These various groups have intermingled over time. The evident fact is that the majority of Palestinians share Semitic origins, both in terms of physical appearance and genetics. This includes Palestinian Arabs and Jews, as studies have revealed a genetic connection between them. Recent genetic analyses have shown that Jews and Palestinians are genetically closer to each other than to Jews from other countries. Looking at the distribution of the Y chromosome in Arabs and Jews, a 2010 study titled The Genomic Structure of the Jewish People by Baer and others found notable similarities. Genetically tested Palestinians were found to be genetically close to Jordanian Bedouins and Saudi Arabs, suggesting a common origin in the Arabian Peninsula. Another study led by Harry Oster and others concluded that Palestinians shared genetic similarities with Bedouins, Jews, and certain Jewish groups from southern Europe, who are the closest genetic neighbors to Jewish populations. The genetic similarities between some Jewish populations and Europeans can be explained by the historical mixing of Jews with European ethnic groups. For instance, Ashkenazi Jews, who have European descendants like Germans, contributed to these observed genetic similarities over time. Texts from various time periods have long described Arabs and Jews as not being distant peoples, but rather brothers. Genetic studies continue to support this claim. In an interesting DNA study conducted by Nobel, substantial genetic overlap was found between Arabs, Israeli Jews, and Palestinians. Nebel proposed that a significant portion, or perhaps the majority, of Muslim Palestinians descend from local inhabitants, primarily Jews who converted after the Islamic conquest in the 7th century AD. In other words, today's Palestinians have diverse ancestry, including Jews, Arameans, Ishmaelites from the Nebet tribe, descendants of Esau, as well as Canaanites and Philistines. This genetic diversity reflects the complex history of the region. Many people have questioned events in the Middle East and biblical prophecies, particularly those related to Gog and Magog. In our upcoming video, we will delve into these recent events and discuss whether Gog and Magog are approaching. We invite you to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to ensure you don't miss our future videos. See you soon.